Hey there, it's Susi Hately from Functional Synergy, and this sequence is about helping you really understand what's going on at your shoulders and your hips. You're going to need a bolster, a strap, and a pillow or a block. So we're going to begin on our back, and the entire process is on the back. And we're going to begin with the bolster underneath the legs, and just the legs coming wide. Now, if you find that being in this position, feet touching legs wide in Baddha Konasana, you can always take your legs out like so. So just kind of get into a place where you feel comfortable, and then just naturally and easily breathe. And for this step of the process, if you feel like you need something underneath your head, then do put something like a pillow or a blanket. In time, I'll show you and teach you other ways of supporting your neck in a way that really, really shifts up and changes the function in a very positive way. But let's just start here and have you really get to know your body and the objective nature of how it moves. What moves and what doesn't. Because what I've seen is that so many people can focus in on what they can't do, or they resolve some symptoms, but they're not resolving underlying movement patterns. And so this is one way to really see the reality of what's going on, and then addressing some of those mechanical patterns that have been under our awareness. So from here, we are going to take our legs up straight now, feet flat on the floor, and we're going to move our legs into a gentle butterfly. Now, if you want to move the bolster or the pillow away, you can, or you can leave it. Just, it depends on if it's in the way, like an obstacle. Moving your legs through your hips. And as you're moving your legs wide, just check in with your hip flexors. These are the ones on the front of your hips. And as you move your legs wide, those hip flexors ought not to be firing. So only go as far, like maybe your movement's a little bit smaller, but only go as far as they don't move. All right, lovely. Okay, now from here, let's take the strap in a loop. You'll bring it around bring the strap around your legs. So that you got about a fist or two width between your legs. Have the strap be snug, but you don't want it to be super tight. And then we're going to do the exact same thing as we just did, but this time we've got resistance here with the strap. So you're going to gently push your legs wide into the strap. Super, super easy. And again, we don't want the hip flexors to fire. Nothing through the back or the SI. No, not even heat or warmth. So you're just moving the legs wide into the strap. You're not going very far at all. But again, we're doing a horizontal movement. So those hip flexors don't need to fire. Okay, great. Great. And then let the strap go. And from here, we're going to take the block in between your legs. So now we're going to do adduction. This is the legs coming toward the midline. And place the block so it's as comfortably close towards your pubic bone, so you're really the meat of the adductors, and you're going to push the block in. And the idea here is your legs are moving in this way. So similar again to that first movement we did when the legs were coming back in. But this time again, we've got some resistance, so you'll probably feel this in the inner thigh. But again, nothing through the back or the SI or the sacrum, nothing up there at all, because that's not involved in the movement. If you need to, you can always take the block wider, or the pillow wider, and that can sometimes be the place to start for some people. The key is we want to help you build a movement pattern without excessive strain, right? Because if there's excessive strain, I'm just going to change up the orientation of the block. If there's excessive strain, that's the habit that you're starting to build, yeah? So a lot of what I do is help people move better and move better without that excessive strain, because what I've seen is that there's a huge correlation to them reducing pain. And I'm all about reducing pain. Yes, pain's physiologically normal, but we don't actually need to have it in many cases. So let's help you move better, gain those better neuromuscular patterns, reduce the underlying tension that's there, reduce the compensation patterns, and then in turn see the gains that are made. Okay? All right, great. Let's bring that down now. Okay, so now from here, let's bring one leg to your belly. Keep your pelvis quiet as you bring that leg to your belly. So what I mean by that is as the leg comes up, there's a tendency to roll back on the pelvis. So bring that leg up towards your belly. Good. And then you can hold onto your leg and then bring the leg up to the sky. Okay, and just keep that knee bent and begin to rotate that leg bone in the hip. So your pelvis stays totally quiet. And then drop that ankle down. Now notice at any point did your pelvis shift? And if it did, then make the movement a little bit smaller so you're only going as far as the pelvis doesn't rock back or there's no shift. Yeah, and this just lets you know what's going on. We've got some other videos here in this channel that we'll put links into the description that will guide you as to where to go next, right? Depending on what's going on with you in your body as you're doing this movement. And then if you're here, then just take your hands to your bum and then move that leg bone away from your pelvis. Again, as you move the leg away, you're not using the front of the hip, you're using your butt, those glutes and the lateral rotators, those external rotators. And then bring that leg down. And let's do the other side. Pelvis stays quiet. Good. And then the leg straightens up a little bit. Start to rotate that leg bone in the hip socket. And then bring that ankle down. Again, watch if that pelvis wanted to move. Because if the pelvis is moving, that's the habitual pattern that you're starting to train. So you gotta ask yourself if that's the pattern you want to train. And in some cases you decide, yes, I'm gonna do that for now because at least I'm moving, which is an okay decision to make, totally fine. And then just know over time you'll want to shift it if you want to improve your function. Yeah? Those habitual patterns are really, really important. Okay, so we're moving that leg bone away from your hip socket. No hip flexor as you're moving the leg away. It's all bum, meaning glute, lower glute, and external rotators. Good. And then come back and then bring the legs down. Good. So stretch the legs out. If you've got your pillow or your bolster, you can stretch the legs out and just feel what you feel. And if this is really comfy here, then stay there. We're going to take the strap back again. And we're going to hold onto the strap. Bring the arms up to the sky. You can leave the legs over the bolster or the pillow or straight out, or you can bend them. Just get a feel of what it actually feels like in your body. Make the decision based off of what you're feeling in your body. So either down or up. And then start to take your arms overhead. I'm going to do both so that you can see me doing both. And what you're doing here is you're taking the arms over your head. Now you're moving in a range where there's no clicking or clunking or pain or strain, and that you're not wobbling your arms through the range. This is a vertical movement. So we don't want to create elbow bending and shifting. And then watch to see if your ribs want to flare. So what I mean by that is as the arms go overhead, the ribs can sometimes pop out. Now I don't want you to do the opposite of pulling the ribs in either. I just want you to keep your rib cage really quiet. Be aware of that. Be aware of that movement pattern because so often that one's under our level of awareness. So let that come up, notice it if it's there, and just keep the ribs quiet, only moving the arms as far as the ribs are quiet. Lovely. Okay, and then bring the arms back up. Good. And then just rest yourself down here for a second and get a nice feel of what's going on in your body. Okay. Now look at your right hand and take your right index finger and touch your right thumb like an OK symbol, and then do the same on the other. Good. And then bring your arms up like you're going to give a big hug around a tree. And then start to move your arms wide in your shoulder sockets. And again, you're moving in a range that doesn't increase pain. The movement is one of the arm bone in the shoulder socket. Great. And then let your arms come down. And now just notice what it is that you feel through your body. This was a really short way of exploring the largest joints of your body and how they move and what you're now feeling in your system. So notice that, and then go to the description of this video, and you'll see other videos you can view depending on what you discovered. And if you resonated with this and you want to be notified for when new weekly videos drop, then press that subscribe and notification button. And if you think someone would benefit from seeing this, do pass it along. Take really good care, and we'll see you next time.